About to hop up here and roll out these tarps. There's no fall pro here. That's something you still run into occasionally at these shippers, where you still have to climb up on top of your load and tarp it. So you always want to make sure that you've got your helmet on, even if they don't require you to wear a helmet, because falling off top of a trailer that's, you know, over 12 feet up in the air is not going to be good for your health. All right, so I don't think anybody wants those problems. What's up, guys? Irritated Trucker here, back with another video, and I am checking in with you guys from the Pelican State. Bonus points to anybody who knows which state that is and why it's called that. But we just got delivered here about 15 minutes ago, waiting for our next dispatch. It feels really comfortable here right now. It's got to be in like the mid to low 70s. It got done raining maybe an hour and a half ago, and it feels nice, and it should stay really comfortable unless the sun comes out. Then we're gonna melt in the humidity, but it doesn't look like that's gonna be the case today. It's pretty overcast. But there's an interesting story about how I got here. Let me hop back in the truck. Kind of noisy. I'm at a truck stop, small mom and pop truck stop, one of my favorite kinds, just because they're off the beaten path most of the time, and their lots usually are not completely filled up, regardless of what time you get there in the day or the evening. But yeah, like I was saying, we're here waiting for our next dispatch, and it's a Monday, but I wasn't able to get parked up last night. I was just way too far away. I picked this load up on Friday, and I picked it up in, I can't remember which city, but it was in Virginia. And it was like 17 hours away from this delivery location when I picked it up. So between where I was, taking the load home for the weekend, and then getting here, I would not have had enough hours unless I just didn't go home on Friday. If I just drove past home and kept coming this way, and then I probably could have made it here if I had done that, but I wasn't scheduling myself to be out on the weekend like that. But what I had to do, since I had pretty much reserved myself to the fact that I was not going to get parked up, so I needed to get myself as far as I could on Sunday, because I still left Sunday. Because, well, even if I had wanted to try to get parked up outside of not going home, when I finally did get home, it was about 8 p.m. So with me waiting for my 34-hour reset, that means my clock wouldn't have refreshed my 70 hours until 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. And even if I had left right then, I wouldn't have had enough hours on my drive line to make it all the way down here. I mean, I pretty much used all my hours yesterday, like I said, Sunday, to get to where I was. I got just across the state line of Mississippi, and I only had like 45 minutes left on my clock, and I parked at that first rest area, that welcome center, and then I had like 2.5 hours, or 2 hours 45 minutes to drive this morning to get here. So I left early enough on Sunday. I left like 8 a.m. and that let me arrive at the rest area about 6:30, 6:45, something like that. And that allowed my clock to refresh soon enough this morning, which is right around 4 something a.m. And I was able to get to the consignee around 8:15 this morning, which was still good, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get parked up, but I wanted to get here early enough in the morning so that when I put in my empty, I would still be able to get a decent load, a decent paying load for the day, like while all the beginning of the day freight is still available before it all gets picked over, even though I won't have a full 11 hours like I would if I had gotten parked up. I have slightly over 8 minutes left on my drive line right now, so depending on what I got to pick up, where I got to drive to, I can still get some good distance, you know, getting something for today. But we'll see what that is. Hopefully something that puts me in a good area. I don't know if they're going to end up sending me east or west, because I am going home this weekend as well. They send me west into Texas or something like that, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they'll do that. I mean, because Texas is kind of hard to get out of. You know, it's a huge state. At least in my experience, when I've gone to Texas, you know, I usually pick up a load in Texas, I'm delivering it somewhere else in Texas. But if I do that, I mean, I can only go so far since I'm going home this weekend. You know, they'll have to end up sending me out west, or I'm sorry, not west, east, to go back to North Carolina. Seems like all the times when I've ever gone to Texas delivering, I end up getting a load like Thursday that takes me back to North Carolina to either, well, no, you can't get back to North Carolina from Texas in a day. Not in a driving day, not in 11 hours. So it's usually something I pick up on Thursday and then I'll deliver it Monday. That's what's happened, I guess, the past couple of times when I've been in Texas during the week, when I'm not trying to run the road for multiple weeks. So I'm not sure, with me being this close on a Monday, where I'm gonna go. If I'm gonna go west, north, or if I'm gonna just shoot east to deliver something or pick something up. So, oh, one thing, let me add in, I made a rookie mistake when I was leaving yesterday. My original plan yesterday was to leave close to when my clock refreshed at 6:30 a.m. on Sunday, but I lounged at home. Since I got home kind of late on Friday. I ended up lounging a little bit because I wanted to enjoy my home time. I felt like I got a little bit shortchanged just because of how late in the evening I got back. Of course, I've been back home much later than that. For you guys that have seen my videos, that late night steal video where I didn't get back home until 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, or Saturday morning. Saturday morning. But yeah, I just hung out a little bit. And when I was trip planning to get out here or to do my driving for Sunday, I forgot that since I was driving west, I was gonna gain an hour of time, you know, so I didn't technically have to leave as early as I did. I left at 8 a.m. as I said, but I probably could have left at like 9, or yeah, like 9 a.m., maybe like 10. Stuck around home for a couple more hours, but I planned out when I looked at the rest area that I planned on parking at, I checked it on Trucker Path and saw that they only had like 10 parking spaces available. So in my mind, after I had realized that I was leaving a little bit earlier than I had to, I just stuck to the plan, because I thought if I leave a little bit sooner like this, I'll stand a very good chance of not having to like struggle to find a parking space, because by the time I got to that rest area that I was planning on getting to, I was gonna have very little time left. And like, that rest area wasn't my last hope. There was like another rest area like 11 miles down the road, and there was like another truck stop that was a little bit closer, or a little bit farther beyond that rest area. It would have been enough time for me to be able to drive to those if my plan A had not worked. But with me leaving earlier, like I planned on, 6:30 arrival time, 6:30 p.m. That is really early. Most truckers aren't going to be parked that early in the evening. Most guys are still going to be driving. So at least that's what I was counting on, and it did work out. You know, there was a fair amount of parking spaces still available when I got there yesterday, so that worked out in my favor. But yeah, like I said, I made a rookie move. I forgot about, you know, gaining time once you drive so far west in Georgia. You know, you change into Central Time, you know, because of course North Carolina is on Eastern Standard. All right, guys, we're here at the pickup location. It's about an hour and 20 minutes from where we were when we dropped off this morning's load. As you can see, we've got lumber back there, and as you all know from my other videos, lumber loads are really easy to deal with. Looks like I got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so yeah, it's not too many. And these bundles here, each section is marked as 14 feet long. So the way TMC sets it up, anything that is up to 8 feet long needs to have 2 straps on it. Anything that is from 8 to 16 feet needs to have 3 straps on it, and anything 16 feet or more. It needs to have at least 4. I mean, I don't think you'll really ever have anything that's going to be longer than 16 feet. It'll be in like a single piece as far as lumber goes on your trailer. So we're going to put our 3 straps there, one in the front, one in the middle, one in the rear on each of these. So you can see the division right there. And I got my tarps up there. So we're going to roll those out. This is going to be pretty fast. They were really quick with loading me here, and I love that. That's always a great thing because it is hot. And another thing, fortunately, I got to get to stay underneath that this shed here in the background while I'm tarping. You can see the drastic difference in the lighting when I stand out here, and it is hot. It is hot out here in this direct sunlight. So definitely thankful that we're going to be able to stick right under here and do all the securement and the tarping. There's a significant temperature difference between standing in the shade and standing in that sunlight back there. You get hot really fast. But let's go ahead and start securing this so we can get out of here. We've only got about 6 hours 45 minutes left on our clock now from the driving that we had to do earlier today. So let's go ahead and get this wrapped up so we can get out of here and get parked for the day. Alright guys, we did a trailer swap last week, so we don't have a Fontaine trailer anymore. We're rocking with good old Benson this time. So if you've seen one of my first videos where I was talking about the difference between the Bensons and the Fontaines, you see that the Benson trailers, the winches, the portable winches that slide here on the rails, only go up so far. That's as far as this one will go. And I need for it to be right here. So in a situation like that, there's a couple different things you can do. You can use two 2-inch straps, throw them over and use them in the place of one of these 4-inch straps. Get your 2-inch ratchets for that. Or you can do what I do and purchase yourself one of these solitary 4-inch ratchets. I have 2 of them because the issue with the winches only going up so far, it's the same thing with the rear of the trailer. The winches only go so far back as well. So I have one of these ratchets for the front and one of them in the back, just in case I need them. Now on the driver's side of these Benson trailers, there is a winch that goes up to right here, just behind this first set of tires. It'll be like right here, but it'll be like right about here, fixed. It's like welded to the frame of the trailer, but it's on the driver's side of the trailer. So that doesn't do me any good over here on the passenger side where I need to throw this, because I always throw my first strap on the, I throw it so that the winch downside is on the passenger side of the trailer. Every time, from what I was instructed when I was just starting out, one of the trainers was telling me that, you know, you do that so that if your load shifts or it moves anywhere with this front strap failing, you know, it pulls to the passenger side, and that's more so to protect you as a driver. You don't want the freight to come down on your side. You don't want it to come down at all, but the reason why I always say you don't want anything happening to you is because you're the one that's controlling the truck. And if something happens to you, the truck is just gonna run wild until it hits something and stops, or momentum causes it to slow down, or it loses enough momentum to slow down on its own. But more likely than not, if it fails while you're driving down the road, you know, it's gonna crash into somebody or something, like a guardrail. You don't want any of that, so you want to make sure that you as the driver are always going to be able to maneuver the vehicle around so that you're not incapacitated, unconscious, or any other injury that would stop you from controlling the vehicle. Well, great. Didn't winch that down enough. There we go. Take the extra, put it between. Loosen it up just a little bit. There we go. Then tighten that down. There we go. Alright guys, about to hop up here and roll out these tarps. There's no Fall Pro here. That's something you still run into occasionally at these shippers, where you still have to climb up on top of your load and tarp it. So you always want to make sure that you've got your helmet on, even if they don't require you to wear a helmet, because falling off top of a trailer that's, you know, over 12 feet up in the air is not going to be good for your health. All right, so I don't think anybody wants those problems. So always make sure you're wearing your personal protection to just keep yourself safe out here, because you never know what might happen. Nobody plans on getting hurt. So let's go ahead and get up here and do this. Always want to start with rolling out your tarp in the very rear. Then you do your front tarp after the rear tarp's already rolled out. So let's go ahead and walk back there. Alright guys, got the first tarp down. As you can see, it didn't take very long, but a little helpful tip. And I can't really speak for other companies because this one is the only one that I've ever driven flatbed for. But on TMC's tarps, there is a line here. If you can see that, this line right here that goes all the way down the length of your tarp from the front of it to the very back, and use that as your guide. Make sure that this line right here is actually in the center of your load when you're placing your tarp out. That way when you actually climb down, you don't have to keep running from one side to the other of your tarp on the passenger side and the driver's side, trying to pull it even to make sure that everything's straight. You can do it right from on top of the load, nice and easy. All right guys, we're gonna go ahead and bungee the first portion of this tarp down. See the rear tarp. Now today I don't really have to worry about much because it's not windy and we're inside of a kind of like a covered shed here, as you can see. So I don't have to worry about the wind getting underneath the loose flaps of my tarp and blowing my tarp off of the trailer. So even with that, you know, practice makes perfect. Setting up a system or a habit for yourself, and I do have a system. When I'm putting out these tarps, I do it the same way every single time and it works out beautifully. So what I always do after I've rolled out the rear tarp, I come down and I anchor it. So I'll take a bungee, hook it through a D-ring, and then I'll pull it down and just hook it to the trailer. It doesn't matter where, as long as it's pulling forward diagonally. And then I will run to the other side and do the same thing. You don't have to necessarily worry about anchoring down the rear end. I mean, you could if it were particularly windy out, but it's not. But can't hurt to try it. But there you go, anchored the back of it down, and then you just do the same thing on the opposite side from where you were. Bungee, anchor down to the trailer, and the purpose of doing that is so that the wind can't blow your tarp off, and you don't have to scramble around if you're up there trying to roll up or roll out your second tarp, your front tarp, and the wind catches and starts moving your tarp around, let alone let the wind gust be strong enough to try to blow the tarp off while you're on it. I mean, these tarps are pretty heavy, like 100. Well, the lumber tarps are like over 100 pounds, I believe 110 or so, but don't let that fool you. The wind can definitely blow these tarps off. I mean, I've seen it happen to people. I've seen it happen to people, unfortunately. And one guy that I had met, not another company driver here, but for another fleet company, and he had actually fallen off of his trailer before. He said it knocked him out and everything. He had to go to the emergency room. It had split his scalp. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. He said he didn't quite remember how it happened. It's the people who saw it happen to him told him after the fact. But let's see here. Yep, we're all set with this one. So we're gonna go ahead and roll out our front tarp, and then we'll come down here and put bungees everywhere and tuck the tarp the way that we need to. Definitely get a tricep workout, pushing yourself up here on top of these loads as frequently as we have to. I don't have a ladder. right, guys. I just bungeed off the passenger side so far, and as you can see, I started off by bungeeing using every other D-ring. So this one, skip that one, then you use this one, so on and so forth down the length of the trailer. And like I say, the reason for that is so that you don't have your tarp all pulling to the side that you're bungeeing on. If you go ahead and bungee down each D-ring down the line before you've winched anything down on the other, or not winched, before you bungeed anything down on the other side, your tarp is gonna all pull towards you. And when you go on the other side and start bungeeing that down, it's gonna be lopsided. So let's go around the other end and let's see where we are. As you can see, the red section is at the top of the tarp with just a little bit of it there. Maybe like 1/8 of the total tarp space is up at the top. And as you can see, it's like the same on this side still. Okay? The same amount of space is on this side, and I haven't bungeed down any of this side yet. So keep that in mind. It's just a little tactic that I use, and that way once you well, since this side is unbungeed and the other side is already bungeed with just like every other, I can go down this side and I can put a D-ring bungee on every D-ring if I wanted to, and it's not going to lopside the tarp because the other side has already got some holding it down. So it's just counterbalanced if I were to do it now. So just keep that in mind when you're tarping. Putting your bungees out, don't pull all your bungees on one side when you're starting off. Just do every other. And then when you get to the other side, you can put all the bungees in and then go back to the original side and fill in the missing bungees if you need to. All right, guys, we're all tarped down. See that? Looking real nice and aerodynamic. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing when it works out well. So we are ready to get out of here. We just gotta go grab our BOL. And we're hitting the road to drive for the next 5 or 6 hours to get parked for the night. Let's hit the road. What's up, guys? It's Wednesday morning. We got parked up here at the Constantine, no problem. And I usually wake up and get myself ready about 30 minutes before the customer actually opens. That way I can, just get prepared and get the load ready. I don't take my tarp off. As you can see, there have been guys in the past who have gotten themselves in trouble for taking their tarps off too soon and their freight getting wet and the customer refusing to take the freight because it's damaged, basically, because it's supposed to be dry. That's why we tarp it. As you can see, this one here, it wasn't raining when I got here last night, but as you guys can see, there's puddles over there. It rained overnight. Now, some guys probably think that they're getting ahead or trying to get ahead of things by taking their tarp off a little bit earlier, trying to save themselves some time doing the work the night before, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to take your tarp off before the customer that you're delivering it to has authorized you to do it, basically. That way you're covering yourself in the event that, say, while you're taking your tarp off, if it starts raining then. Because I've had that happen before. I've been in the process of untarping my load and then it starts raining, and I've already, been authorized by the customer to go ahead and take the tarp off, and then, once it's raining, they've already told me that. Make sure you get their name too. Make sure you get the name of the person who told you could take the tarp off. That's another part of covering yourself, just in case they try to deny it, you know, if things go south. But you know, I've had to take the tarp off and it started raining, and they may want me to just take off like the rear tarp or the front tarp, and they unload the freight in sections. That way, you know, it's not going to get the entire load wet, you know, and they can take it off quickly and not worry about, you know, the entire load being uncovered and getting wet the entire time. So just keep that in mind, guys. Don't take your tarp off early, at least not without your customer saying it's okay to do so. But I'm about to walk in here and check in. They said that they start unloading at 7, so we'll see if we can get that moving here, get ourselves unloaded, and wait for our next dispatch. I got hot, guys. I had to take that sweatshirt off. I was overdressed. I mean, the temperature says that it's like 53 degrees or something, but I was sweating. I think my blood just runs hot or something. It doesn't take very much for me to warm up. Feel a little bit better now, though. That's the thing with flatbedding, though. Flatbedding can be like a workout. You're definitely staying physically active out here, that's for sure. So you're naturally going to warm up, so you always want to dress accordingly. Guys, we're unloaded, and I just got to put this last piece of dunnage away. It was underneath the freight, keeping it angled. I didn't get a view of that when I first got loaded to show you guys why I do that, so I'll wait till I have another lumber load where I'm doing that, and I'll explain that for you guys. I always like to have the example on the trailer when I'm explaining something, that way you guys can actually see what I'm talking about and properly process it. So let's go ahead and get this cleaned up so we can get out of here. All right, and I keep a broom. This is a detachable broom, so you can unscrew the bristles and everything, the front portion. And I keep this in my toolbox here, and I always like to sweep off the deck of the trailer if there's any debris left. With this one, there's pieces of lumber left up here, and you want to get that stuff off before you start driving on the road. You don't want any debris, even if it's small pieces, to come flying off your trailer. You know, DOT might try to write you up, or you know, if you hit some civilian's car or something, you know, they may have a problem and want to try to file some claim, you know. So eliminate any liability from yourself by just cleaning off your trailer. Plus it looks better that way anyway. All right guys, we're still waiting to be dispatched, but while we're at it, I'm gonna get myself in position to get out of this lot. As you can see, I'm facing that way, and you can't get out there. There's no, it's just a driveway to that shed back there. It doesn't lead back out to the street, and it doesn't circle around the building in a U-turn. So I have to go back out the way that I came, right there. So I asked the forklift operator, which is what you always want to do if you get into a place that's a little stickier, you're not sure, you want to ask the forklift operator, you know, how do truck drivers usually get out of here? And they'll tell you the method that most dudes use to successfully get out of the place you're in. So he said, I can pull forward on this road a little bit. This road's not very wide, but I mean, I guess they're cool with me driving on the grass a little bit if I have to. I definitely don't want to get on the grass. So that's going to be soft, especially after having rained. So let's get on here as little as I possibly can, but try to stay on this gravel path. Drive forward here, then basically reverse at an angle towards that open warehouse door that they have, and then make that left curb turn to get back out the way I went in. So definitely gonna try that, because there's no possible way that I can U-turn here. The alternative to that method would be definitely less desirable, and something that I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to attempt, but that would be to reverse all the way back to the way I came, out to the road, and try to blind side back out to the road, or sight side back. But I don't want to back out to the road at all. I don't want, I mean, even though this is like a side street and there's minimal traffic, the fact that this section right here on the right hand side where the trees are, I can't see anything at all coming around that corner. Like I said, there's minimal traffic here, like next to nobody's driving back this way, but I can't see anything, and I don't want to even like risk the little, or the one time when I try to back up through that way, somebody come driving down that road really fast or not paying attention and smack right into the side of my trailer, and you know, me be liable for that. So we're gonna go ahead and do this way. That's gonna be the safest way. It might take a little bit more time. I don't really think that it will though, but it might take a little bit more time, and I'll definitely have to get out and look a couple of times to make sure that I'm coming in at the right angle and not gonna hit that open bay door there. But you always want to do things the safest way, and the way that has the least amount of risk to yourself and the public. Getting out and looking is definitely going to be good for you. Don't be lazy. There have been a ton of drivers that have gotten into accidents and damaged things that they didn't have to, because they were too impatient or lazy to stop the truck and get out and look. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm probably not going to record myself actually doing the backing gear, just because it's like the videography of it will be too much for me to have to keep on doing that. So you guys will see me once I'm successfully in position, facing the other way. All right guys, we did it successfully. I had to pull up a couple of times to get myself in a good position to make that 3-point turn and get out of there. But as you can see, that is where we were, and here's where we are now. So we came in right there, and I'm waiting for dispatch for the day still. So I ended up finding this little spot here that is right off to the side. That way I'm not blocking anything. If any new drivers need to come in here, I'm not blocking the entrance, and I'm not blocking the driving path to get to the unloading area. So that is the sweet spot. That is the sweet spot. So the customer is very unlikely to come out here and tell me that I need to move, because I'm not stopping their operation at all, which is what you always want to look for if you're gonna need to sit around and wait to get dispatched on your next load, or you're waiting to get some time back on your clock or anything, and you're at a shipper or a consignee. You know, try to find somewhere that's out of the way, that's not stopping anything, and most of the time people are going to leave you alone. I've always had good luck with it. I don't think I've ever really had maybe one customer that told me I need to leave the whole facility after. That was with me actually having sat there for like, you know, 20 or so minutes. But that's all you got to do, guys. Always look for options. You know, if you're unsure, just ask them. Most of the time they're going to be okay with it. You're better off asking than just assuming, and then, you know, setting up your plans around sitting there, and then somebody comes up there and blows that whole thing out of the water and messes your day up. So while I'm waiting, I'm gonna get something to eat. Probably gonna exercise actually as well, and then we'll be on the road to make some more money. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. I appreciate everybody that's liking, subscribing, and commenting on the videos. Here at Trucker out.